Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the Tier 10 Soviet Collector Heavy, the Object 260, and the Swedish Collector Heavy, the Stridsvan K. Both of these vehicles are similar in the fact that they are mobile, less armored heavies. They sacrifice armor for mobility and high DPM. However, in the latest update of the game, we got a big change to equipment. Penetration, especially if you're running calibrated shells, is substantially worse. And what that means is that if you're aiming for weak points, it's going to be harder to hit them. And also, with vehicles that rely on armor, they've gotten a lot more reliable. Well, the Object 260 and Stridsvan K are both vehicles that never really relied on their armor. They relied on their guns and the mobility. But now that tanks have less penetration and enhanced armor got buffed, or you can have more hit points, it allows these heavies to get away with even more. And for those of you that don't know, the power to weight ratio of a lot of tanks is also increased due to engine power getting better with the equipment changes. So tanks are faster, and when you add that with the fact that armor's better, yeah, the mobile heavies are really sitting high and mighty. So I was expecting the 260 to be pretty mediocre today, but it performed really well in the 3 games I've played in it so far, and the Stridsvan I played 4 games, and it also did really well. And one of the other big changes was V-stabs getting a big buff. The problem with the 260 and Stridsvan K was that their on-movement dispersion was pretty horrible. So now that you can actually run V-stabs, your shells are pretty accurate already on base dispersion, and V-stabs gives you that really accurate on-move dispersion. You can see right there we get a bounce on the upper plate from that VK72, and that's a good example. Last update, I genuinely don't think that VK72 would have bounced me. The IS-7, I'm not really sure what this guy's doing, but he's getting farmed, so there you go. Another nice shell into the IS-7. Pretty good stuff. Let's see. Toonmate gets a nice shell. I tell my toonmate, I said, alright, well, since the VK shot you, I'll let you get the clear. And then I'm going to focus on the Type 71. Drive over towards this side of him, and there you go. Nice 400 damage shot. I might be able to sneak a shell into the Type. Let's see. I thought that my toonmate was going to just drive around, but he probably didn't want to bleed health. That's totally chill. I'm just going to snag the shell right into his tank. And there you go. We get another bounce from the Object 268 version 4. Unfortunately, the V4 backs up, so I'm not able to hit them, but I'm already over 3,300 damage. And, like, you can see that VK72 bounced me right on the upper plate. Like, this thing's armor is good enough that you're going to get bounces from standard ammo now. Premium shells will still be able to cut through this tank. I'm going to say that. Like, if you're firing premium, it's not going to be that hard to butter through a 260. But if it's using a little bit of gun depression, the turret is just that bit harder to pen, and same for the upper plate. And it really does allow this vehicle to get away with more. But obviously, the calibrated shells change goes hand in hand, because shooting at heavily armored vehicles is also substantially more challenging. This tank only has 330 mils of heat with Cali. I was trying to shoot a 268, or not a 268, it was a Type 5 heavy. I literally couldn't pen the Type 5. Like, I was able to get a couple pens here and there, but the fact that you have to physically go for weak points, like the little hatches or the corner cutouts, versus actually being able to shoot the lower plate, it is a big change, and it does allow super heavies to be much better. But this is the way it should be, right? Every single type of heavy technically got a buff if you're able to drive them properly. If you're not great at the game, then, well, the buffs aren't going to make too much of a difference unless you're driving the most basic vehicles. But if you're a skilled player, even if certain heavies are much harder to pen, you can use your mobility and your increased armor and capabilities also to do a better job. Like the Stridsvan K, for example, because of this APCR premium, actually gained a little bit of premium pen. And then the mobility got a little bit better due to engine accelerator getting buffed, and I've got a little bit of extra HP sitting at 2,553. So you add all that together, and yeah, this thing just got completely better. And the final huge buff to this tank is that, as I mentioned, V-stabs is now 17% instead of what was like 12% in the past. That is a substantial increase in V-stabs capabilities, and it means that when you're using this tank, you can now actually hit your shells on the move and not have to aim in nearly as long as you previously would have been able to. You can see my aiming circle really isn't that big for how fast I'm driving. So we're going to cross over here, and you can see just how fast a Stridsvan is, and, well, not seeing anything on the heavy crossing. That's a great position if you want to bleed out heavies that are going to try and aggress, but not seeing anything happen so far. And the enemy TVP is going to bail, so I'm going to see if I can get a shell into the TVP. However, I just didn't have the angular. So the TVP is able to get into cover. Or so the TVP thinks. Instead, I'm just going to make my way over here, and because this thing's so mobile, I can just cut off the TVP. They're going to get shot for 567, and then boom. Nice 328 right into their vehicle. Okay. Let's see. TVP's going to I can't believe I hit that. I actually don't know how that penned. I really don't. That TVP was essentially behind cover, and I was able to snap that shot into their lower plate. Sometimes RNG works in your favor, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it does. 60 TP bounces me because he hits my hatch. Not sure why he wasn't shooting at my hull, but my shell missed the complete flat side of the 60. So I guess it goes hand in hand, right? There you go. Another bad RNG shot. Unfortunately goes into the wall instead of the side of the 60 TP. Now, I know that I, at this point, probably would have been shot if I poked, but 60 TP shoots at my teammate, misses. My teammate gets bad RNG. I thought the 100 shot at him. Turns out that the 100 didn't, and it was actually something else. So there's a lot going on here. My teammate backs up for me, and I'm just going to very quickly poke, get a nice shell into the track wheel of the 60. The problem is, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks, and those are all really dangerous. The 3 heavies have all 600 plus alpha guns, and the Błyskawica at this distance has a 700 alpha gun. So this is something I have to be really, really careful about. But my teammate and I both go for the track wheel, locking that VK-72 down. And now the NC-70 is going to roll around the corner. He shoots my teammate, but I told him, I said, I'll take the next hit for you. That way, the Błyskawica is not really going to be that big of a threat. My teammate gets a shell into him, clears him, and now I'm going to try and bait the VK-72. Ooh. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because he's dead. Let's go for the back track wheel of the 100. There you go, nice 333. My teammate goes for the back track wheel of the 100, and I was really hoping that we were going to be able to perma-track him, but unfortunately, not able to. However, I get a nice shell into the lower plate. My teammate gets a nice shell into the lower plate. I'm over 3k now. And you can definitely see again where this thing is just chunking out damage. My teammate tracks the 100. I track the 100. Every time we shoot him, at 600 HP, we're taking off. I get another shell into the side of the 100 there. And now I'm going to focus the 60 TP. Somehow he bounces me, shoots me in the track wheel instead of my weak point. We're going to go to his... Okay, well, that's not where I aimed. Weird, but oh well. Let's try again. 3, 2, 1, boom. Well, there you have it. 4,018 damage, and this game was just great. The fact that we were able to permanently track the VK-72 and the 100, the fact that we were able to play aggressive and bleed all those players out, you can definitely see again how that mobility is really nice. And when you pair that with the fact that we can actually get bounces now due to my armor being slightly stronger, it definitely allows the Stridsvon, the 260, the E6, the G-SOR, all to be a lot better. So, here we are, final battle, and up against us we have a mouse, a VK-90, a chieftain, and an MBTV, and 3 tank destroyers. What's interesting is you'll notice that there are literally no mediums on the enemy team, which is a pretty good situation for me, because it means that I'm able to pretty freely play aggressive on the medium flank, and I'm knowing that my teammate and I are the fastest vehicles on both lineups. Like, if we look at the enemy team, I guess the chieftain's fairly fast, but it's not nearly as mobile as a Stridsvon. And honestly, even G-SOR, the tank, is pretty mobile. So the fact that my teammate and I have so much mobility means that basically we're going to have free range to work this hill. I'm hoping that we're going to see some vehicles spotted on the C hill, but so far, even if we skip ahead in this replay, you can see nothing's going on. I was sitting here, and I'm waiting. Oh, okay, we got the MBTB spotted. There you go. Nice shot into his vehicle, taking off 356. However, they now back into cover, and I'm not able to get any more damage. Okay. Well, definitely not going to be able to hit the MBTB. Is there anything else I'm going to be able to hit? Let's see. What do they have? Well, they got 3 tank destroyers. A 183 hasn't been spotted. Only the Tortoise has so far. Oh, never mind. The 183 has been spotted. And we get a nice shell right into their vehicle for 350. I was trying to move out of the way so I wouldn't block my teammate, but then the Emil drives into me. So, oh well. Let's aim it on that chieftain. Nice. Hatching him. 344 damage. Puts us over 1,052. That's a pretty good start. We got the VK-90 spotted low. We got the 183 detected, and I said, hey, why don't we just farm out that 183? He's in the open, and he just shot, so I can get 1 shell into him now. I'm going to move up a bit, put on my adrenaline so I can hit the 183 again. 3, 2, 1, boom, there you go. And then my teammate pokes, unfortunately bounces the shell. Thankfully, I have a fast enough reload with my adrenaline that I'm able to easily take that 183 out of the game. That's 2,000 damage dealt. I'm going to aim it on the side of the... Okay, I guess my shell isn't going to pen the flat side of the VK90, but that's fine. We'll go for another shot, 365. I tell my teammate, there's a chieftain above you. Don't let him hit you. And unfortunately, the VK90 was able to slam that shell out. Surely hoping I was able to take that shot. But good news is that this VK90 is still not going to do too well. My teammate and I have each over 3,000 DPM. And not only that, but while the VK90 does have decent armor, we're still going to go right through him. So VK90 actually bounces me, and I'm going to use my repair kits, fix all my broken tracks, all of my damaged modules, and the VK90's out of the game. And then we got the Chieftain, who we're also going to push, and I'm going to get a nice shell into the Chieftain. My teammate's going to get a nice shell into the Chieftain. Chieftain's going to start running away. I'm going to aim it on his rear. I probably could have HE'd him, but better safe than sorry. Just fire standard shell. 4,000 damage dealt. Now the Chieftain's going to run over to my teammate, and I'm going to get an HE into his rear. 4,580 damage. Now, I'm going to make my way up the hill, and you'll definitely see where the mobility advantage of the Stridsvon is pretty big over the G-Sor. Like, I got up that hill actually substantially faster than the G-Sor. Now, obviously, I'm going to make my way down the hill. I took kind of a worse route. I don't know why, but I just took a worse route. So I'm going to jump down. Let's see, that MBTV got nuked, and I'm going to go all the way wide and get a nice shell for 357. And just like that, I did just shy of 5,000 damage. As we can see, the armor is pretty decent. We got a couple bounces in both of these games, but it's not just the armor. It's the fact that the V-Stab's buff allowed these mobile heavies to have more accuracy on move, and with the penetration changes and everything, it really did allow the mobile heavies to get a substantial buff, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Obviously, if you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more in the future, make sure to smash that subscribe button. But apart from that, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.